You guys come off you guys were in it for a quarter and a half against one of the best teams in the state last week. We talked about it going into it, that the players wouldn't be intimidated by, a number 2 undefeated team, and I didn't feel like they were.
No, our kids have rose to every challenge we've thrown at them and came out and played really well for about a quarter and a half. And in that second quarter, we got stuck offensively and just started kind of spinning our wheels and couldn't get first downs and had to punt the ball away. And Centennial's too good that if you don't keep their offense off the field, they're going to put points up. And when they reeled off 3 straight touchdowns right before halftime, that kind of that's on us. I mean, we can't just get in that situation. We got to be able to move the ball and get out of that and kind of flip the field. There was a point there for 3 or 4 series we didn't cross the 40.
Yeah, and that's credit. And it seems like Centennial's defense has been improving as the season has gone on. They may have struggled. I mean, and mind you, I think the opponents that they went up against were obviously very tough, but you can start to see, like against Carlsbad and against you guys, that they seem to be getting a little bit better.
Yeah, and they are, and that's due to coaching. Like, they're doing a good job over there, and you can still see that I think we're good enough offensively to put points on the board, but we've got to make sure we sustain drives and keep their offense off the field because they're explosive, and the Davis kid is for real, and every time he touches it, you have to be worried that he can take one about 90 yards to the house.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the last 2 weeks, you guys have seen some really talented skill players between Centennial and Hobbs. They both sides have got some fast and powerful kids. So, it's just life being in this district.
It is, and that's kind of the fun part of this district is you get to see such quality football players, and we got them too. Like, I mean, coaches come and talk about our kids and having a couple of kids that our kids that are explosive can break one at any point. That's the beauty of 6A football, and that's the beauty of this district is in and out. Week in, week out, you're going to see tough football players and tough football teams.
Yeah, and it's a big reason I know why you guys schedule so challenging in non-district as well. As you got to get ready for those district matchups. You have to face some challenges. I mean, it's one thing if you go 4-0 through non-district and you play 4 cupcakes and you never really identify who you are. You get kind of kicked in the face when you get to this district. And we had to schedule up and play some quality teams. And we talked to our kids this morning about, there's about 12 to 15 plays this year that if you flip those scenarios that we're not 1-6, we're 4-3 or 3-4 and competing for playoff spots right now and talking about the playoffs. And we're not saying we're out of the playoffs. I mean, we got to win 3 straight games and to give us a shot. And I told our kids, and our kids have had the mindset this week is playoff week. This is week 1 of our playoffs. Yeah, it's definitely a great way to view it. And you were talking about some great players that you guys have on your team. Marcus had a great game for you guys in the receiving core. I want to mention Dylan because gosh, that kid was playing both ways for you guys last week. You could see the cramps were getting to him after that long 80-yard run. Nate obviously had another good game. And there's probably a load of other guys that we could mention as well that played really well last week. Yeah,
I mean, those are all offensive guys that played well offensively. But you take Ty, we moved Ty to linebacker and let him run, and he had a really good game. You take Gianni Mulgado flying around everywhere last week defensively. Like, our kids play hard and get after it. And there's times that we may be outmatched or something, but our kids will never back down, and they're going to play. And we've got to eliminate the dumb mistakes. And that means we can't miss tackles. We've got to do what we're told to do assignment-wise and not kind of just get stuck in that moment and then take care of the football. And I thought we did a good job last week of taking care of the football and creating turnovers, which is something we have focused on.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, turnovers were not the issue that it had been in other weeks. So you go and you play Carlsbad this week. They're obviously a little frustrated coming off a loss to Oregon Mountain at home last week. Impressive for Oregon Mountain to go on the road and beat Carlsbad. And we kind of knew that Oregon Mountain, Carlsbad, Alamogordo, those 3 teams were all kind of pretty equal going into the season. And, here's another opportunity for you guys that if you play well, you're capable of winning this football game.
Absolutely,
week.
Yeah. And that's some Carlsbad's going through kind of what we went through. You have a tough loss, and how fast do you rebound, and can you shake it and get refocused? We've been through that this year, and it's not easy. But Coach Sanders and his staff will do a good job and have those kids ready to play. And it's at home. There's only so many home games you get, and they're getting limited now for those kids. So those kids are going to play hard for those seniors. They're a talented football team. They didn't graduate a ton of seniors last year. They returned a lot. They're going to be. It's kind of weird. Coach Sanders, Kale's a guy I played in college with, and we're from the same hometown and known each other for a long time. And he's come from 2 high school programs he played in to a college program he played in where they ran the ball every play. And now they kind of throw it a lot. Yeah. So I got to give him a hard time about that every time I see him. But he does a good job. Their quarterback, Caden Perez, I believe is his name. I played with his dad in high school and known him for a long time. And it's a good group that we got to go over there and play well. And it's a long road trip. It's the longest one we got this year. And we haven't played well on the road in our 2 road trips so far.
Yeah. And, we talked last week, and I don't know if we talked about on air or off air, but you guys kind of matched up in the trenches against Centennial better than you have against some other teams. What's kind of the matchup this week? You feel as you guys match up okay?
We'll match up okay. I mean, Carlsbad's still going to be pretty big. I mean, that's a big school and got a ton of kids and a ton of kids playing football, and that's a credit to their staff and that environment over there. But we're going to match up physically. We'll be okay.
Yeah.
And that's now it's just how do we execute? Can we eliminate the turnovers like we did last week, and then can we execute defensively assignment football? And if they get loose, you got kids that'll take it to the house. They're very talented in the receiver position skill wise. They're pretty large up front, kind of all the way across the board. So we're gonna have to play really well defensively.
So you're saying is they're not Hobbs big, but they're big.
They are not Hobbs big. I don't know. There's a whole lot of teams in this state that are Hobbs big.
Yeah, yeah. We definitely saw some big guys there, but. But, going back to what you talked about earlier and having that mindset of, we've got to win, if we want to get to the playoffs, we've got to win these final 3 games. Have you found having that kind of mindset and putting the kids in that sort of zone, is that sort of something that's helped when you've, as a coach, when you've put
it has.
Place, yeah?
I mean, because our kids understand that if we lose this week, then there's no chance of the playoffs, and if we win, then we have a shot at it. It's not a guarantee, but we have a shot because we're going to own 3 wins at the end of the season, and 2 of those will be pretty big wins over quality teams. So that's something that we have to tell our kids. And one thing I've told our kids is I'll never lie to them. I'll just be upfront and honest. And I don't want to let there be speculation when there's no speculation. And it's one of those things we talked about this morning. The same thing. It's one of those things. We made our bed. We got to lie in it, and we have to own it. Like, we've turned the ball over and not played well at times, and we have to accept that and be accountable for those things. But our kids do that. They show up every day. They come over, they hug us, they love us, we love them. I mean, we're here all the time, and that's why even though our record reflects it, we're still having a blast. Like, we're having fun every day with our kids. We're about to go out to practice today. It's going to be hot, and we're going to have some music going and have some fun on Country Wednesday.
Yeah, because it's going to be a hot game on Friday night as
well. It will be warm.
not you're ready for kind of the chill of the fall to roll in, and it's going to be like 90-something degrees over in Carlsbad.
Yeah, and we felt
night.
it last week. I was thinking it's October, and I'm just out here sweating. It was rough.
Yeah, we're ready for a little bit of fall to roll in. That's what football weather is all about. But just, hey, we got to remember we're in New Mexico, I guess, at the end of the day. So
at least it's not raining and lightning.
Yes, and we'll knock on wood. I've been trying not to say anything like that. So I will say that's one thing. At least we haven't had a lot of weather delays this fall.
We have not.
So,
it's been pretty much okay. Up north, they've had a few at the start of the year, so we've kind of survived them.
Yeah, for sure. Coach, good luck, and we'll see what happens on Friday night.
All right, appreciate it, man. Go Tigers.